Hello fellow cultivators, in this video we are going to talk about Mythical Gourd in Tale of Immortal. And this is again one of the three divine artifacts you can choose in the beginning of the game, the other two being the Eye of Providence and the Bagua Jade. So the Mythical Gourd is the one last divine artifact where the development team have released. I believe they released this gourd, this maybe in version 0.7, 6, 7, 8, any one of them. It's quite late. It's almost like after they released the Reborn and Transcendent update, and then it's a Gourd update. So it basically, just like everything, most of the things in the game, there is always an in-game description. For example, here, when you press F, open this thing, and you put your mouse here, you will find out how to use it and what are those things. But Mythical Gourd is what, let's say, it's one of the artifacts that makes the game much more fun. It brings a lot of content into the game, and that's why I really recommend if you play a game, you want to play the game, enjoying it, choose this guy. It's quite nice and fun to have. It's not only adding a lot of just, gameplay-wise content, it's even adding some literally plots, new plots, plot line, new NPCs, which you cannot really encounter if you choose a different artifact. So yeah, it's quite fun. I mean, from absolute power-wise, I would still say Eye of Providence is still the best, but still, some of the Gourd Imps are quite powerful, and with a Gourd, you can make your character much more stronger, so it is still quite powerful. That's there. And also, during the game progression, with some strong Gourd Imps helping you during the progression, it also makes your progression process much smoother. So now let's just talk about it. So, Gourd, how do you use it? So there are two things. One is if you already have an imp in the Gourd, you assign them as your guardian. For example, for me here, you can assign the bamboo key as the guard, and then you can summon them in the battle. So this will only last 15 seconds if you do not have a special destiny called Imp Guardian. And if you have that destiny, it will last longer and become more useful. And then once you summon them into the battle, they be able to use their battle skills in the game, in the battle. So it depends on what kind of battle skills they have, of course. And then that's one thing. And second thing is you can also catch the imps into your Gourd. So let's try to show this in the battle. The thing is, to catching a monster, it is a chance thing, it's RNG, so I cannot guarantee you I will manage to catch it. I will just show you how do you do it. So let's get in. And okay, this is an annoying monster, as you knew. So in order to summon, you just press F to summon the true form. So I press F, and you can see the bamboo key is here. It can use its skill, for example, this one, and it will summon this. This is one of its better skills to summon all this bamboo. It can attract enemy attack quite nicely, and now it's gone. So once you put the enemy's HP below a certain threshold, and this actually depending on the enemy's realm and your own realm difference. So, like right now I'm in Transcendent. If I go to beat Helch Dunkang, which is at Foundation or Chikanization, I don't need to bring down any of his HP. I can directly absorb it. But this enemy is a Transcendent level enemy, so I need to bring it down its HP, maybe around 1/5, 1/6 this range. And once you reach this threshold, this will shine. This icon here will start to shine, which means that now you can absorb it, okay? And again, if you put your mouse on here, it tells you press E, absorb it. A lot of people don't know how to do this. They still press F. Of course, that doesn't work because F is to summon your guardian imp, and E is the one to absorb it. And again, this is also literally written there. If you open your Gourd page, put your mouse onto that question mark, it explains everything. And it also explains here the absorption is more likely to succeed at HP decline. So you are more likely to absorb this successfully if they have a lower HP, I will try to wear it down a little bit more without killing it and try to absorb, but still depending on RNG, so bear with it if it doesn't work. Press E, and you see this, and absorption succeed. If it fails, you will see the enemy, boom, and then it fails. So now we can already exit this battle and try to see what happens once you successfully absorb the enemy. So you get out of battle, you see that your little gourd icon have something called new here. You press F, there's refine monster thing. Actually, one thing I would recommend you to do at this time is you save your game. So save your game at this time. This is because the next action, basically refine your imp monster, it is something you can save and load. Which means if you click this button, you will gain your imp, and if you do not like the stats of the imp, then you can just load this save and then try it again. For now, I won't load it. Let's just see what it happens. And so this is what I get, the flying mouse. So the strengths, it happens like there can be 1 to 2 or to 3 fires. Obviously 3 fires will be stronger, 2 fires is good enough in my opinion. And then let's just press OK. It will tell you something. By the way, if this imp can change the form, it will tell you. So this is something remember for later on. So now if you click on all imps, you will find this flying mouse just there. So all the imps have HP, attack, defense, crit, just like your character. Sometimes there are some little fire icons near it, and there's this giant fire icon, which obviously if you have a bigger fire icon, which means this value is better than usually it gets. And how many fires in total you have here and how many battle skills, adventure skills, all of them together determines the general how many fire you have as their strengths. So this is why actually many times you gain a strength 2 one. But if you send those imps for adventure, they might gain more battle skills, adventure skills, which might actually bring them up to 3 fire strengths. And in general, a good rule of thumb is they have good attack. I mean, just like your own character, good attack is always good. So this one is not a great imp. So if I want to min-max, I should probably save and load for this. Okay, so I think that's general things about imp. And then we'll talk about teaming and what are these things to do. So basically you can and you should, once you have certain amount of imps, put them, for example, do just drag off them. You can have 4 teams, but at very initially you can only have 1 team and maybe 2 imps in a team, but the number of how many people, how many imps in 1 team and how many teams you can have increase once you progress in your realm. And you can then send them out for adventure. There are 4 different options. 1, seek for power, you put your mouse here, chance to find manuals, materials, comprehension, or cultivation, special increase. And seek for wealth, chance to find spirit stones, elixirs, material for immortal wardrobe, if anyone who cares about that. Seek for wisdom, basically, normally I generally put it on this one because it's a chance to find what kind of spiritual foods, relationship books, because those are the things that in general you don't get that often. And imps can bring these things very nice. And then there's 4th one, explore the world. Chance to find material for artifacts, artifact spirits, Taoist fruit, nice, and breakthrough materials. So if you're stuck at some point of breakthrough, maybe you can use this. And you see that all 4 of them can get special item for gourd imps. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. They can get the special item. Anyone can. And one special quest can only be triggered if you choose the 4th option. So let's say even if you always want spiritual fruits, for example, you want everyone to go in this adventure, just add each realm, do it once to let them explore the world so that you trigger that quest. And so that's one thing. What's the second thing? So they talked about special items, but this you can get items from those adventures, but another thing is they can gain their skills. For example, what is a good example to show this? So you see that I have one Carpia like this, and I should have another Carpia somewhere here. So these two are both Carpias, and you can see this guy have 4 battle skills, and this one only have 2. And for adventure skills, this one actually have adventure skill, and this one do not also have different adventure skill. So the battle skills are kind of fixed per different type. So Carpia will have maximum 4 battle skills, and they will have a chance to learn. But to learn during the adventure, because when you just capture it, many times they only have 2 or even 1, 3. They don't have all the battle skills, but during the adventure they can learn those skills. Just like this flying mouse you can see this guy have 2 skills, and this guy have different 2. So if I send 2 of them to adventure, eventually maybe they can gain all 3 battle skills. And then you have these adventure skills. So this is the fun pack. So for example, sometimes they gain this thing, higher chance bring something when adventure in the world, which is okay. But one special adventure skill is actually no, not you. These 3 are not here. Form changing. So there are certain imps can transform into human, and first of all, there are only certain type of imps can get this skill. Second, if you are really lucky, you immediately gain this skill without doing adventure when just when you absorb it. But most of the time, when you absorb the imp, it comes out without adventure skills or with a different adventure skill like this one. Then when you send them to adventure, they always have a chance to gain more adventure skills. Now each imp at most can have 3 adventure skills, and it's not guaranteed they will gain this skill of transforming, even if they belong to the type that can transform. So it is again a chance thing. If you really want, you can again save and load, but I don't really bother to do it. And so then now the question is, first of all, which type of imps can transform? Let's see. So basically, an easy way to remember is starting from Ninetales. I will ignore Leonid here. Starting from Ninetales, if you open the map, remember that you will meet a lot of mythical monsters, either in all these 6 different fields in Yongling region and Huafeng region, and also you have world monsters, these 2, and some random roaming around monster here. So the only exception, the only one which can transform in the beginning, these 2 maps, is actually Leonid, which is coming in Blazing Land on Huafeng region. We're ignoring one big exception, is the tower. So because in Soul Devouring Pagoda, in the tower, you can meet all kind of higher level monsters. So let's ignore that. But Leonid should be the first one you meet which can be transformed. And then it's the Ninetales from, those Land of Beyond or Land of No Return? Land of Beyond, yeah. So, and after that, because progression-wise after these 2, you can meet more higher level, let's call it, monsters, and most of them can be transformed. For example, starting from Zhujian, which you first meet should be during the Taoist Mind Pavilion quest. And then this guy, Hellspawn and Chongqi and Drought Demon and Carpia. These 4 guys usually appears in the 3rd and 4th level of the tower, right? And also they are easy to spawn in those Dao realms when you are at Muxian region. Similarly for Jimong, it's also in the Muxian region Dao realms. And also these 2, Drought Demon and Jimong, are both in the Agar quest. So technically, you meet them once you reach Grimoire and the Muxian region. So this is when you start to meet a lot of transformable monsters. And then you have this guy, Demon Ego. Technically, you meet it where you are at doing the third sea quest so basically you should be at enlightenment, okay? And also you will meet them later as well in the tower. Then obviously you have all this reborn and transcendent realm ones. You have Tao Wu, that guy which summons little sword and kills you immediately if you do not break the shield, the sword. You have human fate feline, yeah, annoying. You have the five-tailed crimson leopard, and you have these two different kind of birds, the blaster sparrow as well as the fly mouse. They have the hound, and you have Tao Tie. So basically you can see that most of the ones can be transformed, can gain this thing are a bit later in the game. And early game ones, for example, Evergreen, Corpse Lord, Goliath Crab, Six Tails, the Ape. I'm jumping off the quiz here. Sphinx, Satigar, the Fair Worming, Duncan, Harpy, Lydra, or Mountain Spectre, even Abomination, Koto, Suan Yu, Hatui, not Ninetail. Ninetails can't transform. And Mushroom Man. So this one, you can see that they are just not able to gain the human transform. The only exception here is Kui. It is more like in the same level as Hellspawn and Chongqi, but for some reason you cannot get a transform skill for this one. And you might already find out something like this guy Ninetails and this guy Ninetails, they look different. And similarly for this guy Carpia and this woman Carpia, they also look different. So once they gain the transform, this skill, their portrait will look a bit different. You can still click on this thing to make, to transform it, how it looks. So basically the character should look like this. You send them for adventure, they get the transformation, they will transform to like this. And similarly, Ninetails should starting look like this, and once they gain the transformation skill, they will change into this. Okay, so now, what happens? So once they gain this transformation skill, then what you can do is click on change form for them to transform. And so basically save beforehand, because once you change form, they can never come back. Another thing is once they change their form, they cannot be sent for adventure anymore, which means if I change form of this Ninetails right now, they will never could be able to go for more adventure to learn more battle skills. So be careful of that. But let's just try to do this. So if I click on change form, ask notice, and it will be transformed into a human, just with fluffy ears. And okay, you can save and load for the dress. So each of them, you already have a few different type of dress, but if you have done it, you know which are the few type of dress, and they do have some kind of things, differentiate them from the normal NPCs. For example, for Ninetails, it's always these little ears, and the game tells you once you finish the form changing, they would leave the gourd at any time. If you want to stay, please bind it. Just do it. Once you bind it, then it's bounded, so you can summon them in battle still. Assign them at guard. And so now you can still, change this thing to change the shape. Now you can see the imp stats. They have more stats, and even with all the skill stats. And you can also click on these battles to see what are the minor skills and skills they have. You can teach them art by clicking on transferring art. So if you have some, manual you want your imp to learn, you can click on this, give them the art, and they will learn it. So it's a nice way to customize your helping imps thing. And when you summon this Ninetails into the battle, it can use both the imp skills that it has before, as well as these new skills it has now. So basically, transform them into a human is make them more powerful. Actually, why don't we try it again? Since we have a new imp now. So you all know how Ninetails works, right? So I summon it. So it starts with a human. it can use, and it is using its water skill right now, as you can see. But it can also use its Ninetales in general skills. But since, yeah, for example, this guy, you all know this is a Ninetales skill. Let's try to get the Duncombe. Oh, you get it. So, yeah, as you can imagine, because they can use both the B skill as well as in general the cultivator skill, so which makes them a bit more powerful. And let's just see it again. This movement, attack 13k, defense 7k, vitality 104, no 1000. Wow, it's 1 million HP. So she is way stronger than normal NPC at the same transcendent realm. So they are strong. And yeah, so of course if you do not bind them, the next month normally they will just leave, or you can directly set them for free, by the way. I just released this. You can see the little fox, and she immediately appears here, and you can see that basically she has the same stats, the same skills you had it before, and obviously you can recruit them into your sect. And they will always be your friend, starting with this and with 5 hearts. So don't worry that you are releasing some powerful being into the world without, make them into your enemy. No, that won't happen. So they will always be nice enough. And for example, this one is a fish, the Carpia. And usually the Carpia ends up with looking like this. So the gourd also have inventory. And inside it you can have 4 different type of things. One is Imp Experience Elixir, Imp Realm Elixir, Gourd Imp's True Chi, and Transformation Elixir. So basically, in order to, and they are quite straightforward. Imp Experience Elixir, you can use this to increase the Imp's experience, and once they reach enough experience, they can use this thing for them to break through to higher realms. And the True Chi, this one is basically it helps them, if they died in battle, you can use them to save them. It's quite simple. You can always gain all of them from adventure, and also you can also learn the recipe of how to make those things from the Ugly Cultivators event, which is that it is a special event if you chose to let your imps to adventure and send them for the 4th one, Explore World. At each realm, it will trigger that event. And that event will bring you some recipes how to make them. And just to show you that what you can do so for example, this Carpia has at Reborn. So you can always use Imp's experience, to bring up to higher realms. And once they are at higher realms, you can either directly feed them to breakthrough, or you can directly click on this breakthrough, it will automatically use it. And yeah, then it breaks through to higher realms. So that's how this thing works. And about what kind of imps that you should, what are the best imps you can use to assign as your guard. And of course, if you have a human imp, then they are probably better because they can use both the human skills as well as the imp skills. So that's there. But apart from that, there are a few which are in generally good. The best one for a change is actually this guy, this little guy, the mushroom man. The main reason is the large mushrooms. It's crazy. And little mushroom as well. So basically you eat both of them. And then you become fast. And the large mushroom basically can make your damage to become 4 times. 4 times. It's 300% increase. It's crazy how good this thing is. The only reason why this gourd is not the best artifact in the game is because you cannot control when will your imp to plant this thing. So it takes a few seconds for it to plant this thing, and you have to pick it up. And during this time, your imp can be killed. It can be, controlled. So That is the main problem, but you cannot otherwise, just from a pure power-wise, this is probably the best skill and in the game. It's crazy how good this thing is. We might be able to show you this actually. So in order to show this, let me first switch off the auto attack, because otherwise it will not be that easy to see. So good is Duncan. So you see 3, 3, 4, 3, 3. That's how much damage I do without anything. Now please, see, it to be controlled. Don't do this. Just summon your thing. Summon your little... Good. Okay, now 9. 9945. That's 3 times increase of the damage. And in my experience, it sort of depends, but there are many times I feel there are like 4 times increase. So it's quite crazy how good this thing is. Another very good imp to assign as guard is Bambuki, and I think you already saw it during the previous part of the video when I'm showing you how to capture the imp. The main reason is Demon Bambuki's thing. It basically summons all the bamboos on the ground, which can be blocking enemy projectiles and also attracting enemies' attention so that they're always attacking those things, and they can never be broken. So it's quite great to save yourself. So Bambuki, defensive. Mushroom Man, offensive. That's kind of the best 2 imps. Then others imps, they have their, let's say, some of their use. Like for example, you know that if you are using an eye, Hatsuyubari's skill, Rushing Thunder, is the best thing, right? But as the imp, first of all, you cannot control when you use it, and also it's called Ball Lightning. Yeah, it even have a different name. It's so confusing. But you can't control the timing of the stun, so it's not that useful. Like the eye case. Well, surprisingly, it can be quite useful to use this one. Lightning Surge Field. Once it uses this thing, it clears up the board very fast. So a farming skill, I would say. And apart from this, Fair Worming can freeze the enemy. And of course, your Carpia can freeze the enemy as well. So it can be quite somewhat good enough control once. And yeah, I don't think anything else is that worthy to talk about. But and one thing is it's actually more about the special bosses. So you have Duncan and you have Hellish Duncan, right? So you can defeat Hellish Duncan and capture it when you are in Foundation. And Hellish Duncan is base Chi Condensation 1, which means once you capture it, you can summon a Chi Condensation level imp against other Foundation level enemies. So it's basically just crush them, for example, Lydra. So this can be a good strategy for you to progress. So when you are in Foundation, captured the Hellish Duncan. When you are at Chi Condensation, captured Cloud9 Hatsuyubari, which will be Golden Core. So again, helps you to crush all the enemies in 6 bosses, on these places. And actually, the 9 tails in those, once you defeat Land of Beyond, you go to the 9 tails will be Nathan Soul level. Again, helps you to defeat everything else. Similarly, the Carpia, Bloodshell Carpia, and actually many of the bosses in those Dao realms will be Enlightenment level. So yeah, basically during the progression, the rule of thumb is get the higher realm one. They are always better than lower realm ones. And then if you have every one of them at the same realm, or if you're at end game, Bambuki and Mushroom Man. Let's say Mushroom Man is the most recommended one. This guy is great, 3 times damage. What else can you get it apart from, let's say, fire, fire build fairy flames? And I have been talking about the special quest for the imps, and this is the special quest NPC. Not translated, but it's basically Ugly Sage or Ugly Cultivator, and he's always North and Soul Cultivator, and in general he's always Real Cultivator until you make 5 hearts with him. In next month or in few months, he should probably try it. Well, tells me I want to join your sect. Otherwise, no matter how you want to recruit him, he won't join. Maybe let me try now, to be honest. How do you want to come? Since we have 5 stars now. No, he still rejects. So, anyways. And this cultivator will have some special, destiny, like this thing, the Thunderborn, and stuff. And look at him. Northern Soul 1600 attack is crazy strong. And basically he will appear the first time you ask your imps go for the adventure, and to go for adventure for the 4th option. And I think at each realm there is a small quest, continuation of the quest. I have done all of them, so I can't show you, but at some point it teaches you the alchemy for the imp ones. Where it is the imp one? For example, imp realm elixir, which basically so that you can make them things by yourself rather than, it's just another way to gain those things. He will also give you some sort of appeals, elixirs in the early game, which can be quite helpful as well. The main thing is his quest sort of starting with a choice where you reach the Rimor region, and the end of his quest is basically to give you this demon's arena. So yeah, and I will just go there. As you can see, the arena looks like this. So basically have his little mask icon here, and if you click on it, you can basically do some kind of Pokemon fight. You choose 3 and against 3, and if you really want to, if you're into this thing, it's a fun thing to have. Otherwise, it's not much to say. It's a fun little quest to have. I mean, in general, I found Gourds quite fun. I mean, they even have a special quest after all, special NPC special quests, which you don't get it from the other 2. And it has a lot of fun things to give. You can make an entire, a sect of super powerful Gourd monster army. So if you are into that, it's fun as well. And I think that will be everything about the board. I mean, as usual, if you like this content, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you next time.